guys, this is the Q&A segment of the Road to the Arnold series. First off, I want to thank all of you for your questions. There's some good questions on here, but what I want to start by saying is a lot of these questions I see are things that are strictly individual. So a lot of these questions there's not going to be a direct answer for. So anyways, that being said, here we go. Jeff Lorfice, what was it like competing in your first Olympia? It was a dream come true. I don't there's no other way to explain it. Obviously I knew where I stood against the other guys and still had work to do, but nonetheless, it was a blessing and a dream come true. George Osborne 12, what carb intake is best for bulking? How many grams would you recommend? Perfect example of the individual questions. Now, George, if you are 300 pounds and shredded, you're gonna need a lot more carbs than the guy that's 150 and skinny fat. Odds are. But I can't answer that question. There's no direct answer to that question. That's very individual. How long have you been? Big Dino Regulator 3XL. I love some of these names. How long have you been training? I started training for football around 13, 14. Started bodybuilding and started training for my first bodybuilding show in January of 2011. And what percentages, keep forgetting to read the name, JJ Nottenboom. And what percentages do you divide your macros? It changes pretty regularly. There's no one answer to that. D1 Gibson, what all supplements do you take from Redcon 1? I'm taking Double Tap, Isotope, Breach, Total War some days. And yeah, I think that's it for now. But I've tried them all. Jake Alvarez 23, why are you not working with Matt anymore? I've touched on this several times, but I'll go over it again. Nothing went wrong with Matt. There was no falling out. This was just a simple case of me trying to do what I thought was best and being coached by somebody who had dealt with more athletes and was more familiar with athletes, doing what I'm trying to do. That's all it is. It's just a simple fact of I didn't want to have to guess or play a guessing game or wonder if what I was doing was right, and I just thought it was what was best for me. Natural Ox, how many times a week do you deadlift and squat? Plus, with the monstrous weight you push and pull, have you had to improve your recovery strategies? I deadlift and squat once a week each, but I also front squat and do stiff leg deadlifts on separate days. And my squats and deadlifts are on separate days. So that being said, as far as the improving my recovery strategies, not really. I think it's pretty much the same stuff. It's just, it's taken me a long time to work up to the point where I can train this way. It's not like I just woke up and was like, oh man, I want to, train with this kind of frequency and these kind of weights, and I want to do it all the time. It didn't really go down that way. It took me a while to build up to this point. Josh Setterfield, what do you do to stay humble as someone who has achieved so much so young? That was tricky wording, Josh. But honestly, man, I don't see why I wouldn't be humble. I'm not building rocket ships that take people to the moon. I'm not in $100 million movies. I'm not curing cancer. I'm just a bodybuilder, and while granted I do what I do every day and I love it, and I'm lucky enough to make a living doing what I love and living out my dream, but I don't see any reason not to be humble. Just because you got more muscles and more muscular physique than the next guy gives you a right to be a dick. That's what's wrong with this industry. Show aesthetics. Does your body respond better to carbs or fats? Again, I don't think there's really an answer to that. I think you need both in your diet. I don't think it's ever a wise idea to cut out all fats or all carbs, maybe unless you're really trying to go into a deficit. And even so, I don't think my answer for that's going to help you much, because I don't think our bodies are going to be the same, obviously. That's where a lot of this comes into knowing your own body, and it's a learning experience. I could have went straight to Phil and been like, hey Phil, tell me what you eat, tell me how you train, tell me how you sleep, tell me this, tell me that. And if I would have done everything the exact same way Phil did or does, I might have improved, but I guarantee you I wouldn't be maximizing my potential, because I'm not Phil. True affliction. Hey Dallas, what blood work do I need to stay on top of? All of it. I mean, if it's something they can measure in your body, why not just get the full top to bottom? Obviously, there are cholesterol, platelets, enzymes. There's certain things that are probably going to stand out in most bodybuilders' blood work, but I would definitely say if it's measurable within the body and you've got the access to a physician or a clinic that can measure it for you, why not know what everything is going on in there? Kenny Blackburn, do you see yourself winning an Olympia before age 30? I don't know. I don't really think of it like that, I don't know if I'll ever win an Olympia. So to say I'm going to win one before 30 would be awfully arrogant of me, because I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that, and a lot of years of hard work ahead before that's a discussion. Marvel Monday, are you nervous about the Arnold Classic, and do you have a favorite Marvel character? No, I'm not really nervous about the Arnold. I don't think I've ever really been nervous about a show. I get excited. I love to compete. It's fun. I love the process. And as for the favorite Marvel character, I'll be honest, I can name a superhero right now, but I don't really know the difference in Marvel and DC, and I might make an ass of myself, so I'm just gonna skip that. But I like, some of the X-Men. Is that Marvel? I don't know. The Hulk's pretty cool. Thor's cool. I think those are Marvel characters. Fool's errand for fun. I know you're really big on flexibility. What are some good stretches or movements you can help increase flexibility and mobility in the shoulders? Mine seem to just get increasingly tighter as I add size despite stretching as much as possible. I would dare say that your problem might be something stemming back to how you're actually training. If they're constantly getting worse, you might be forcing them through an unfamiliar movement, or not unfamiliar, but a unnatural range of motion, or a movement that maybe doesn't particularly agree with your body's biomechanics. Now there are obviously stretches and things you can do, yes, but if it's increasingly getting worse and you're stretching, I would say this is not an issue of trying to stay flexible, but rather an issue of you're doing something wrong that's decreasing flexibility. I don't know how to say this one, but how do you feel about Chad doing all your nutrition and supplementation? Is it way different approach than you're used to, and do you feel confident? It's different. I don't know if it's way different. It's definitely different. And yes, I feel very confident. Chad has a pretty proven track record with multiple great bodybuilders, so very confident in his advice and his guidance. Tristan Nell, would you ever consider doing the Arnold Africa? Sure, love to. I remember watching a video of you saying Heavy, what? Oh, he put lighting, but he meant lifting. Are you saying lifting heavy is a staple in your training? Sometimes when I go into a 6 or lower rep range, I lose the feel, oh man, you guys, of contraction and feel other secondary muscles working. Does this happen to you also? If so, how do you work around it? Well, I mean, honestly, man, if you're feeling other muscles working more than the targeted muscle, you're probably not doing the exercise correctly. Or the exercise you're doing might not agree with your body's biomechanics. Either way, you mentioned a bench press. The other day, you know, I trained chest with Joe. We got that on video. Maybe you should check it out because Joe gave me some tips on pressing as far as keeping my shoulders back. We did some, you know, work at the beginning of the workout to activate the chest, stuff like that. You should maybe watch that. Maybe that could help you. But if you're doing a press correctly, it should be primarily in your chest, you know. I would say that, you know, if you're going down into a lower rep range and using more weight and you start feeling other muscles activating, I would say that you're simply just sacrificing form for weight, which is not good. So let's keep in mind the key here is, you know, hypertrophy and to target a specific muscle when we're doing a specific exercise. So we never want to sacrifice form just for the sake of doing more weight. You know, now if you can do more weight and do it properly, do that. But if you can't do more weight properly, more weight's not going to help. Justin Bethune 22. Justin's my boy from back in Chattanooga. What up, buddy? What do you do outside of the gym for recovery and rehab? Currently, right now, I've got a really good chiropractor I go see. I've got a deep tissue lady. She also does cupping and ART. I stretch very frequently. I'm a big believer in the cryo chamber, or even, you know, ice. Like, you know, if you've got something that hurts, don't be afraid to put some ice on it, you know, especially your joints. I think that's one of the most underutilized things in all of sports is people don't want to put ice in, you know, on a sore spot. It's like, you know, if my elbow hurts, you know, what's ice going to do? Well, ice is going to help with inflammation, and, you know, obviously that's really going to help with the pain and stiffness. So yeah, there's a few things I do. Seabass Sanchez, training split. Went over in a video not too long ago. It'll be out shortly. Mary Copel or whatever. How many carbs do you have in your diet? And good luck at the Arnold Classic. Thank you for good luck. As far as the carbs, like I said, it changes periodically. And even so, you know, the carbs that I eat wouldn't be very beneficial to you or the next person. But just, you know, if you're curious as far as an idea of carbs, I would say for me, a high day would be anywhere from, you know, 600 to 800, and a low day could be, you know, 3 to 4. This is a good one. Did playing football in high school and college help you build a better foundation in bodybuilding? Or did you build a good foundation whenever you started focusing strictly on bodybuilding? I would say playing football didn't necessarily help me, but training for football in the basic, you know, bench, squat, deadlifts, cleans, a lot of explosive movements, obviously helped develop, you know, mind-muscle connection, and even build some muscle. And yeah, I mean, yeah, training for football definitely set me up for, you know, maybe starting a little advanced to the guy that, you know, had never picked up a weight in his life when he starts bodybuilding. Ben Watkins, 5836, biggest bodybuilding idol. Man, anybody that's really, you know, won the Olympia, obviously. I'd say the biggest idol would, you know, as far as from a sheer bodybuilding standpoint, would obviously have to be Ronnie, Jay. Flex Lewis is a big idol of mine. I'm very fortunate to have his help and advice. I can go on and on, man. There's so many guys that I look up to, and so many guys that, you know, I could sit here and name names for 20 minutes. I'd probably still leave out people. But there's so many great bodybuilders in the past that you can learn from. Johnny T92. How do you deal with people that are jealous of you, haters, wannabes, etc.? You don't. You don't. You know, if you come to me negatively, you will be instantly dismissed from my presence, my social media, whatever. You know, you want to come talk negatively to me. I don't have any time for that. I don't go to other people. You know, I don't go on other people's pages and negatively insult them. I don't go up to other people in person and negatively insult them, you know, or demean them or belittle them or whatever. So yeah, you know, I have no place for negativity in my life. And if you're negative, you're dismissed, you know. If you're just following me to talk negatively to me, you know, you can get blocked and I don't have to deal with you no more, and you can go hate on me all you want, and, you know, I don't have to see it, and hey, everybody wins. You can be negative and bitter and I don't have to put up with you, so. Oh, how to overcome a weak back. I'm trying. I'm doing, like, you know, as I've said, lots of deadlifts, lots of rows, lots of, you know, heavy compound movements. And then also I have one day, I separated my back days. So one day is strictly nothing but rows, and one day rowing movements and deadlifts. And one day is strictly nothing but pull downs and I guess what you could call quote unquote whip work. So that's one thing I've done. And, you know, obviously training frequency, intensity, and consistency. The real Taylor V. Obviously a lot has to do with genetic predisposition, but how did you get so flexible? Actually, I couldn't disagree more with you. I don't think it really has anything to do with genetics. I was not a very flexible kid. When I was young and played sports, I was so unflexible that my running style was hideous. They used to make fun of me. I was goofy, uncoordinated, very, very unflexible and unathletic. And I've spent the last, you know, since I started playing football and taking it seriously in middle school, I've spent all those years, all the way into college, busting my ass on agility drills, stretching every day, and stretching to the point where, like, I took my stretching just as serious as my training, because you have to. And stretching is just like training. It hurts and it's uncomfortable when it's done right. And I've really, really busted my ass to become, you know, all around a better athlete in the sense of flexibility, not only strength, but, you know, that too. But I really don't think it has anything to do with genetics. You know, I really worked hard on it because it was a very weak point in my athletic performance. And it was something that I knew that I had to improve if I wanted to go to the next level playing ball. So yeah, there's that. Your typical post-workout immediately after training. I do, typically I'd say, you know, right now I'm just doing like a meal. During the off season, I'll do, you know, the cluster bomb with the breach, which is our cyclodextrin and branch chains. And then once I get home, I'll have a meal. And my favorite post-workout meal is cream of rice and our isotope. And I mix them together. It's favorite college or NFL football team. College team is Bama Roll Tide. NFL team, I mean, my name is Dallas. Didn't really have a choice. Got to be a Cowboys fan when your parents name me Dallas. Here's a good one. What is the importance of rest between your sets, in your opinion, if gaining muscle is the goal? I personally have started taking longer rest periods between my sets as of lately. I find that I can get, you know, if I have to take another 30, even 90 seconds rest to get another 2 to 3 reps out of the set at a very heavy weight, to me, that's much more beneficial. So for me, I'm not going to go until I feel like I'm ready to go. Plain and simple. And the last one I want to finish off with is, I can't find it, but I saw somebody ask, and I get asked this a lot, and it's about what, you know, the way I train, do I worry about ending up with Ronnie or ending up like Ronnie? My first response to that is, you mean like Ronnie with 8 sandals? The 8-time Mr. Olympia Ronnie? you guys see him as crippled. I see him as a legend. So it's a little different for me. Would I trade places with Ronnie? Probably. But the thing is I try to lift with a very strict form and a very fluid motion. And I try to do this as healthy as I can. And I'm not going to sell myself short. I would rather be crippled and, maybe whether I win the Olympia or never win the Olympia and know I gave this my dream, everything I had, than to not have succeeded and wonder, well, what if I would have tried harder? Because I don't want to live the rest of my life wondering, if I gave it everything I got. I want to know I gave it everything I got. So that's that. But anyways, guys, thanks for the questions. Tune in next time. Try to get through some more of them. Best of wishes to you. Take care.